Nice. I just sold an item on Depop. That's exciting. Let's see. I usually don't check my phone during this, but for some reason I looked. What did I sell? Was it the Szechuan sauce from Rick and Morty? Oh, fuck yeah. I sold an Iron Man helmet.
What? How much?
$77.
Nice.
There we go. Sweet.
$77 that you didn't have before.
Right, because I'm moving eventually, and you've been in my office, and you've seen, even down here, like, all of the stuff that I have, and this just one more thing to move.
All right.
It's a lot of stuff.
And now you just get to make money off of it.
Yeah.
Great.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Depop's been good to me. Jamie, so we're here, and you and I were friends back in the day.
Yes.
Kinda, like in 7th grade. Our parents worked with one another, and yet here we are, thanks to the power of social media and people on similar paths recognize each other on other similar paths. So it's just cool. It's cool to have you here right now, and sitting down and catching up and talking.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
I've
So
never done anything like this before.
you were starting to talk about you've been really into writing lately.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yes, I would love to. So I started noticing probably, I don't know, like a couple months ago that my journaling, like I would journal almost every day. Do I need to pull it closer?
A little bit. It's okay. You want to be like
I'll put these on.
a fist away.
I need to love my voice.
Yeah, I love your voice.
Love my voice. Okay. How's that?
That's
We're good?
perfect. We're good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So I started to notice a couple months ago that my writing, I would go into my journal to get something off my chest, right?
Yeah.
Like because there's something that needed to come out of me. And I would go into my journal with an idea of what I wanted to write. And there was almost an expectation of what I wanted to write. But I started to let the pencil do the writing. And at the end of writing it, I would always write, "I love you, Jamie Rose."
Love that.
It was just, "I love you, Jamie Rose." And it was always like, I would always smile when I write it, and I'd make a little heart next to it. And then I would go back and read it and be like, whoa. Like, that was not what I thought I was going to write.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know where that came from.
So it's almost, even in the moment of writing it, you weren't
Lost.
really there. You were just kind of, you took a passenger seat, and whatever kind of came through you was controlling. And then when you go back and read it, you're like, oh, whoa.
Yes. And I noticed what it was becoming was a wisdom of the problem that I went into my journal with.
Yeah.
I turned it into wisdom for myself. Like I started speaking to my higher self, like, here's what's going on. But here's what we get to do about it.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to choose to do about it. Here's what this can impact. And here's how it feels inside of you. And over time of doing this, I'm just starting to notice just how much beauty that I was keeping within me. Like, how much, like, everybody has a voice that needs to be heard. And I feel like through yoga teacher training and writing, like, I'm finally like, my voice means something.
Definitely does.
And it's really cool. It's really humbling. And my friend at work, Bree, who you know, which is so funny, Bree, I shared with her a poem because I shared with her a really vulnerable moment that happened with me recently, which I can share.
Okay.
I'm open to sharing. But I shared it with her, and I shared with her that I had noticed how there's like this wisdom coming through my journaling. And I sent her this poem that I wrote around the trauma that I had uncovered. And she replied back to me something along the lines of, and I'm not going to do it justice, it was so beautiful. And I just, like, my body felt her love and her light. And she's just such a blessing. And she just said, like, how she felt my words and she felt my pain and in her own body almost.
Wow.
And she was like, the strength that you have to, like, see basically how she can see me and I can be so happy, but can be dealing with such heavy, dark things. And she had shared on her story yesterday, I think, that PSA, you can have a hard conversation and still be happy.
Yeah.
And it's like,
definitely.
yes.
Yeah.
We start to, like, compare ourselves, like, this person's going through this and they're so sad and they're so
Yeah.
emotional. Why aren't I sad and emotional? It's like, well, because I'm choosing not to be. I'm choosing to see the blessings in everything.
Do people think that, though? Do people think, why am I not sad and miserable?
I definitely used to.
Really?
Over certain, and I'm realizing that it was related to trauma.
Yeah.
So remember the crystal bowl session I was telling you about how childhood memories came up?
Yeah.
So I can paint the picture again because I think it's kind of important.
Sure.
I was with a healer who I'd met over the summer, and she does the crystal bowl sessions, and I went and I did it, and everything was divinely set up. Like, it was perfect to a T, very intentional. And during this session, I started to have this thought of how I can't fall asleep in front of other people.
Okay.
Like, for my entire life, I've never done sleepovers with girlfriends because that was like, I would always call my mom, like, come pick me up.
Wow. Why is that?
Now I'm figuring it out, and it's part of the trauma. And so that thought was going through my head of, like, I can't sleep in front of other people. And then I pictured the mat that I was laying on, and it put me into Goddard School, my preschool, on a sleeping cot.
Yeah.
Like the cots that we said
During nap time.
Yeah, I was in nap time. And I'm like, why am I here? And then that thought kept going through my head. I can't sleep in front of other people. I can't sleep in front of people. And then the male teacher that I had came into the picture.
Okay.
And still the idea is I can't sleep in front of other people. And then there was this idea of my teacher touched me. And my body, I can still feel it. Like, there's just this tremor of, like, there it is.
Yeah.
She's here. She remembers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this release that I'd never felt before. And, like, the sounds that poured out of me were just pain that have been sitting inside of me for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's amazing.
And remember, I said to you, I was like, no, that didn't happen. Like,
right.
Me, little Jamie Rose, no, that didn't happen to her. And then my body's like, your teacher touched you.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. And so why can't I sleep in front of other people?
Right. You were able to finally connect all of those dots to that one event that happened in your life that was literally affecting you still to this day. That's powerful. And that's just from some sound bowls. Like the air quote hippie shit. Like just sound frequency and vibrations helped you heal. It's not fully healed, but at least you know now, you know right where the pinpoint is, and now you can work into that all from just one session of just listening to some lady hit some bowls with a rubber stopper. Like that's amazing. As more and more time goes on, this stuff is becoming more and more just proven to work. And we were talking earlier, I've never had a sound bowl experience like that. I mean, I have some and I've played with them, but to the point where it's helping me almost like slip into a higher state of consciousness and kind of leave your body for a little bit. Because you said you were like back, you were somewhere else.
I was in the classroom of Goddard School.
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like a way to using the vibrations to then alter your state of consciousness to get you into these different places. That's amazing. And then this even ties into like binaural beats and astral projection. And there's a document I've talked about it many times before. It's a document from the CIA talking about the gateway process and how if you use binaural beats to sync up your left and right brain hemispheres into a certain vibrational frequency, you can then transcend your body in space and time. So it makes sense that if you're under the influence of these sound vibrations, then if you can kind of just let go enough, you can definitely leave your body and go to these places and dive deep in your subconscious and heal parts of yourself and work on parts of yourself.
And that key part is allowing yourself to let go.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. That's the hardest part too, by the way.
The hardest part.
Yeah.
Like, I was so in my mind the entire time, like painting the picture of the day that I had before and the weather that we had. It was like a super rainy night, and the roads were icing. So I'm like, I'm going to have to drive home in the ice. Like, I'm going to be so tired after this. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And I started painting all these pictures, making all these videos in my head of what was going to happen.
Yep.
And I finally just like, be here.
Be here now.
Be here now. There's nowhere else to be.
Yeah. And by the none of those scenarios ended up happening, did they?
No,
they never
not
happened.
At all.
We can create more stress chemicals in our body just sitting here thinking about potential realities and actually going out and seeing what happens.
Yes.
The mind's a tricky thing, and I think what prevents you from letting go is your ego, because your ego is like, it's our identity, it's what we cling to, because one of the first things they teach you in Buddhism and studying these things is like, you're not your body. Like, you're not your body any more than you're that lighter or, that Dexter, So it's the ego that we cling to, and that's why people, psychedelics is a touchy subject for a lot of people, and because the ego is completely diminished, and the ego wants to hold on. We're safe here. Let's just stay here. It's safe. It's warm. Like, we're okay. But it's when you're like, no, you choose love over the ego, and that's where it might get painful and emotions might come up. But like, at least you're actually healing and you're moving forward instead of just trying to suppress it. I reposted something yesterday on my story from another account, and it was like, are you actually healing, or are you just trying not to think about it? And I was like, oh, geez, I felt that. And then I posted it, and then a few people were like, why'd you have to attack me? Guess why? And it's because it's true, because we'd rather just kind of tuck it away and it's okay, I'm growing up, that's not me anymore. But like, it still is affecting you, and that's the spiritual path, right? It's like facing that shadow and then integrating what you learned. So then going back, like, through journaling, since that, I know that was somewhat recent, were you able to get even closer to more healing through, now that you had that realization, and then you can journal about it and kind of, again, let your higher self come through?
Yeah, because I've been able to journal out the sensations that arise in my body when I put myself back into that place.
Sure.
When I think of that little girl in that classroom on her cot, and I can feel her pain again.
Yeah.
And I'm able to put that into words, put it onto paper, and create that experience again, and then choose to let it go.
Yeah.
Like, choose to say, this doesn't serve me anymore. Now I get to grow from this, because now I know why I'm 24 years old and I still sleep with my childhood blankie, because that kept me safe.
Yeah.
That kept me safe at nap time. And now I see that when I'm really stressed out about something, how I'm playing with my blankie. And why I don't like to sleep in front of other people. Why I don't like when other people fall asleep in front of me, because it's triggering. And then the other thing we were talking about was, oh shoot, did I just lose it again?
Talking about how you were playing with your blankie, stressed out. That's the worst. Literally one of the worst things ever. I've done that. I did it on the last podcast I recorded was by myself, and I lost my train of thought in the middle of it, and it was just me here. So I was like, what was I there?
It was something not about our patterns, but
we have sounds we can play while we wait. The suspense is real.
No, trigger my thought. No, don't. Oh gosh.
Or we'll keep
these
keep
things
going.
that I'm starting to realize and bring awareness to. No, lost it. Something about journaling. It was
Journaling is a very powerful way to kind of just get out of your own head and just kind of let things come out. There's many different ways to journal. One of the journal methods I learned from a gentleman named Clark Keegley. Check him out. Again, learned it from TikTok, and then I found his YouTube channel.
I won't give in to TikTok.
That's fine.
I won't.
But the way Clark does it, he goes and he buys a sketchbook, like an art sketchbook, hardcover sketchbook, and he breaks it into several different chapters, if you will. So I have one for Onwards. I have one for my spirituality, where I will notate like any tarot cards or like anything like that. One for learning new things. And then I have one where it's just free thought. Anything. That's all. You got to burp. You got to sneeze. You're good.
I had to burp.
The free thought one is really important, because it's just free space. Whatever I'm feeling, just get it out. A few months ago, something went down at my job where they were changing my contract, and it really had me feeling triggered and just frustrated that day. And I'm walking around and I'm pacing around the house, and whenever I have something big going on or a conversation I need to have or a presentation, I will walk around and practice talking. Something I've always done, even like in the shower, I'll go over it because it makes me feel better about it. Because when I was a kid, probably why I do this, when I was a little kid, I had the biggest stage fright. I was so afraid to be up in front of people and all that. So that's probably why I do that today, and it helps. But I went to my journal and I just started writing. Didn't even know where I was going. I'm just going to write this. I'm getting these ideas out of my head. So at least they're out of my head and they're not taking up space in my consciousness. And I'm writing things out and I'm not even really paying attention when I'm writing. And then I'm able to like shut it, walk away, and then come back. I'm like, all right, what do we got here? And I'm looking at everything and I figured it out. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, everything's okay actually, because I just figured out a solution to this newfound issue. So it's so powerful. And I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, and you start to realize that everything is happening for you.
Yeah.
Nothing, if you have the mindset of things are happening to you, you're just going to manifest more of that black poison.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose every day to say, no, I'm going to choose myself today. That's the most powerful thing that I've been able to give myself.
Me too.
Like waking up, I go to sleep with my blinds open. So I wake up to the sun in my eyes. And so this morning, one of the things I wrote was when I was waking up, I kept like opening my eyes and seeing the sun, and then I would close them again and drift back into like a little slumber. And then I would wake back up to the sun in my eyes and smile, and then I fell back asleep. And then I woke up again and I rubbed my eyes, and then it was a cloudy day. Remember how we were talking? It was raining earlier for a minute. And to me, I promised myself at night that every morning when I wake up, the first thing I'm going to do is write. Whatever is there, I'm just going to write it. And so it came out something like the sun's always there if we just clear the clouds. And like the clouds are the chatter in our mind, right? And if we can just realize that no matter what, we're always there, the Atman.
Yes.
The sun. We're always there. We just had to get through the messiness, get through the cloudy day. And now it's a beautiful sunny day out.
I love that. It is. It's
and we got to sit outside and
so
nice. Sit in the sun.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, I love that. It's the morning routine I'm noticing it's so important to have like a morning routine that serves you, where you're able to wake up and, like you said, check in with yourself first in the morning. Make sure you're calling your power to you for the day, set intentions, just connect with your body, be grateful for your body. I'm here, I'm alive, another day, let's go do this. And worse, at least today with technology, so many of us and people listening and watching, I bet most of you first thing in the morning, because I still do it too, you go right to your phone. Right to your phone, answer texts, any Snapchats, Instagram, and it's not good because it puts you in a state of reaction first thing in the morning. You see something you don't like, you get a text from your spouse or whoever, and it's not the greatest, and then all of a sudden that creates a ripple in your entire day. You might not make your bed, you skip your meditation, and then your whole day is off because you could have just maybe done one thing differently. I've been cold showers are new for me.
Ooh.
Not super new, maybe the last few months, but like in the relative span of my life, they're new. And I love them. They definitely suck. Like, I don't like the shower itself, but like right afterwards is what I love, where you just get this explosion of warmth just rushes through your body afterwards, and you're all tingly and you're alive, and you're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
It's powerful. So the morning routine, it's like wake up, hydrate, write a little something, write even if you don't want to like write just 5 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're grateful for.
Write that I don't know what's right.
There you go.
Write about what that feels like.
Yeah. Just get out of your own head, reconnect with yourself, set your intentions. Like, it sounds so simple, but it really does like make the difference, hit or miss. I notice on days where I wake up early and I stretch and I meditate and I journal, maybe do some tarot cards, those days are so much more productive than days where I just wake up, maybe check my phone and like kind of get to my computer. It's like night and day.
It really is. Yeah.
What else do you have in your morning routine?
I have been trying to set my mat out. Like, I roll my mat out before I go to bed, and I just recently...
Yoga mat. Your yoga mat.
Did I say I roll my bed out?
No, mat.
Oh.
But just in case people don't know
What did I call it?
Just a mat.
Oh. My yoga mat.
We know what a mat is because we do yoga, but people are like,
Sorry,
what's, she rolled somebody named
I'm
Matt
like, I'm
out?
lost.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yes, I rolled my yoga mat out before I go to bed at night.
Yeah.
And I just recently put my bed on the ground, like I'm rid of my mattress frame, so I could be closer to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so now in the mornings when my yoga mat is already rolled out, I can literally just roll out of bed, whatever mess I am that morning, roll myself out of bed onto my mat and just listen to my body. Yeah. Like, what do I need today? Mm-hmm. Because I found that I was going to YouTube and searching like morning yoga, gentle morning flows, and like trying to find the perfect class on YouTube. And I started to realize like that doesn't exist. Yeah. The perfect movement is inside of me. I know what my body needs. Yeah. And so starting to listen to that is it's kind of like setting the basis for my day of I'm going to listen to myself. What do I need? And if that doesn't feel right for me, I deserve to say no. And I think in uncovering my trauma and owning my trauma, not letting it define me, being open to share about it, because that happened to me. And I know for a damn fucking fact, I'm not the only little girl who was touched as a kid, who was taken advantage of in the classroom. I'm not the only one. And I think a lot of people are scared to voice that because that feels ugly and messy and painful. But it's like, if you just own it, it makes it that much easier.
It makes it that much easier. It makes people trust you more, feel better about you. People, that's the thing about today's world, is we forget that like vulnerability goes a long way. And authenticity and vulnerability are like how you win in this life.
That's what makes you different from the next person.
That's why psychedelics are so important. Because they make you understand we're all connected. We're all one big family. And that's disruptive to a lot of businesses, which sucks. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I think New York yesterday was working on something with, I think they made something for marijuana to be recreational, but they're also, I think, working on mushrooms as well. So we're getting there. Baby steps. Yes. Hopefully by the time our grandchildren are walking around or our kids are walking around, we'll be able to have, we will have something.
Yeah, and I think more people are starting to realize that, I think you said it, it's not the silly hippies. It's the expanding your mind. Yeah. Recognizing that, like, we're not the only existence. There's so much more to this experience, and it's not meant to be stuck behind a computer and letting corporate America tell you that you're replaceable. Yeah.
And then you need to buy shit. Yeah. To make you happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything you need is within, and I just recently found this jungle place in Costa Rica where you can go there and it's completely sustainable. Like, they live off of the land of, I think, 90 acres. Wow. And I've been emailing the owners and I'm like, how do I get here?
What's it called?
Punta Mona.
My friend Dana just did literally that exact thing. I don't know if it's the same place, but in Costa Rica, sustainable, all plant-based. She was like cooking for everybody, and she's in the States right now. I think she's in Florida visiting for a little bit, but she wants to go right back to it. So I'll reach out to her and I'll get that information for you, because that's something I would love to experience. Yes, for sure.
And I was telling my mom briefly about it, because I was like, I just want to be a wild woman. Like, I just want to live in the woods. Yeah. And she was like, well, how are you going to live, or something like that. And I'm like, how do you think our ancestors did it?
Exactly. We're so disconnected. This is what humans did. We're primal beings. We used to hunt and cultivate all our own food and build shelter and be communities. Like, that's what we're not meant to live in cities of millions of people all stacked on top of each other. No, that's not.
Where everything's given to us at the snap of our fingers. Right. We don't want to work to build our houses. I want somebody to do that for me.
I definitely would love to build my own house. Yeah. I would love that.
Out of the resources in the woods.
Yeah. Recycled stuff. Yeah. That's what's primal. That's why I love camping so much.
I love camping.
Because it's like you're kind of primal, like where you're out and you have like the fire and all this stuff. But it's just important to just unplug from the matrix of the third dimensional reality we've been conditioned and born into, where it's like we have social media and cell phones and work and this and emails and no. Just get out in nature and just be there.
More worried about what other people are doing, less worried about what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to do one of those sustainable community retreats, because I'm also super interested as more and more time goes on, and I've learned that, shocker, all of our food is poisoned. Even the shit that's organic, it's still got chemicals on it. And the water's fucked, and they're trying to get us any way that they can, them sneaky guys and gals. So the only way to get all that, and also too, like, being plant-based, and one of the things about vegans is they get, because I've been in both worlds. I've been plant-based for a few years. Vegans, a lot of them are like, yeah, but, like, we're not killing animals. Well, look at a bean field. Like, when those combines go through, think of all the little bugs and little rodents that, like, get killed. So, like, no matter what, this is Duncan Trussell talking about the Bhagavad Gita, where it's like, no matter what, you, as the universe is consuming you and grinding you down, you're also doing that to everything as well. Or when you're driving down the street, how many little bugs, or your fucking white blood cells just murdering germs and viruses that come into your body. So no matter what, you can't avoid that. The only way to avoid that with food is your own organic gardening. And I've been very much interested in that, in like tower gardens and all this stuff. And I saw it was not Vice or anything, but it was this girl doing a coverage on a tower garden farm, indoor.
What's a tower garden?
A tower garden is, I'll pull up a photo. It's basically just like stacked. It's a tower where you fit, there's all these holes, and you put it, so there's no dirt. And there's no dirt, that means no bugs, no pesticides. So you put the seeds in like coconut husks, and then there's all these holes all around the thing. And then water kind of drips down. It's all hydroponic. And it's all organic, and
That's
the food,
amazing.
and you can put whatever nutrients you want in the water. And in like 2 or 3 weeks, you have like all this food. So the lady was trying, I think, just like romaine lettuce or whatever. And she's like a grown ass person. And she said, I don't think I've ever tasted romaine like this sweet before. I don't think this tastes different, or like this basil tastes different.
Right.
And it's because it's all organically grown. So let's see. Tower garden. And it's just these warehouses of just columns and columns of just vibrant, green, lush vegetation. And she also said that the air in there was like very crisp, and the air was very clean, right? Right? Could you imagine that? And you just walk up, pluck some off. So yeah, I'm super interested in that too, and just living sustainable and not having to rely, because, you know, with one thing we could learn from COVID is that, like, a lot of people got fucked really quick. And, you know, we are so disconnected from our food, and we can just go to the store and buy it, and you have no connection to it. And then if that all gets shut down, well, like, what are you gonna? That's when when the purge starts or whatever. There's a boat right now. I think it's going through Panama. It's going through some channel where like 80% of the world's goods come through, and it's this giant shipping container, and it got caught sideways. It's like jammed in sideways from this water channel, and it's like already messing up the supply chain and trades and goods and all. Just one boat can have this huge effect on millions of people. So I'd rather just not try to rely on anybody else if you want something done, because that's where suffering comes from.
And
right?
then in the food that's being so processed and so amplified here. Growing in abundance, but like not organic abundance, like not true.
No, bananas, go to the store, buy organic bananas. Bananas do not look like that. Bananas have seeds. If you go back and if you look at a Renaissance painting, I'll put some visual aids in the video version of this podcast, but if you go, I learned this in art history. If you look up Renaissance, I've always struggled with that word, Renaissance watermelon. If you just Google Renaissance, it's the first thing in my search. Watermelons, there was very little red. That's what watermelons used to look like. Mostly seeds, cartilage. I don't know, what would you call that stuff that you don't eat? What's the part of the rinds? Yeah, sure. The point is, all of our food has been like modified, and you fuck with the genetics, and like that's just what we think it is.
That's fucking with our genetics as humans.
It's messing with our genetics.
Look what it's trying to do to our minds to make us more foggy.
Yep. Here's what's crazy. We were talking about actually no, we weren't talking about this at all. I was talking to somebody about this, where kids cereal, stuff for kids, Pop-Tarts, all this stuff that you're supposed to feed your kids. Well, so many kids are are diagnosed with things like ADD and ADHD, and they can't focus on shit, and they have behavioral problems. So here's some amphetamines. Take that, take that, take that. You're 6 years old. Take that. One of the blue dyes, number whatever, that's found in like most cereals, Lucky Charms products, that chemical is linked to behavioral problems in kids. So you're giving kids food that's making them act a certain way. So you're basically getting them sick. You're selling them the disease, and then you're selling them the cure too. And it's this fucked up cycle. It's crazy, right?
Yes, and it's like all people care about is the fucking economy. What about the environment?
Right, the environment and people's well-being in their lives.
Yeah, I think it's in the Alan Watts song when he talks about like we need to go on, like we must go on.
Yeah.
But like we're making life so unordinarily messy that we're gonna be out of here pretty soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill ourselves.
Yeah. The Earth will be fine. The Earth's
gonna be great.
There's been either 5 or 6 mass extinction events, so it's just part of the Earth's history is these events. So the Earth's gonna be just fine.
And then it's like, how insignificant are we really in the grand scheme of the cosmos and the universe and all the things?
Yeah.
We make life so messy.
Yeah. We make our own lives so hard and our own lives so messy. But if you just look at how big the universe is, you're just a little speck.
Yeah, not even. Like, are you?
A complex speck, a piece of sand with complex emotions, and it's insane. Here, let me make sure the camera's going still.
Okay.
But yeah, it's wild. So I definitely, the self-sustainable stuff has always been very interesting to me. I read a book called The 50th Law. It's by 50 Cent and Robert Greene. And they just talk about that whole thing is like a lot of power comes from self-reliance and not having to rely on anybody. Like if you want to do something, get out and do it and figure it out. And we live in a world where everything is handed to you. And there's so much reinforcement and feedback that's instantaneous, like with cell phones and social media and how many likes did I get, and I'm swiping on Tinder and up and down, and your brain is firing on all these cylinders. And this is not how humans evolved. And it's only been like a short, like 15 years. It's changed so much with cell phones and stuff. Someone was saying I think Joe Rogan was making a joke about how fast our thumbs have evolved.
Oh my God.
From texting. He's like, if you went back 200 years ago and you showed them how fast your thumbs are, they probably think you were like a witch or something or a warlock. It's crazy.
I bet. And that goes to the same thing, like how fruit has evolved because of genetically being like poisoned, basically. Yeah. Look at how humans are evolving because of how poisoned we are.
Yep.
It's like we used to be apes, right? And so now we're getting like tall and skinny and like bony and weak and wimpy, and we can't have scooters in gym. Remember those scooters that you would sit on?
Yeah.
They can't have them in gym class anymore because kids were running over their fingers. That's what made me a fucking kid,
Seriously.
man.
Oh my God.
You gotta run over your fingers on the scooter.
Gotta learn. How is she gonna learn?
Like, we're taking away the fun.
That's crazy. I saw a kid in Texas the other day who actually had an actual toy.
Great.
And my dad like complimented the mom, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he's not getting that shit." Like talking about cell phones, like he's not getting that. He's gonna get actual toys. And I was like, "Yes,
that's amazing."
It still exists a little bit.
A little bit.
That's insane. I didn't know about the scooters.
Right,
What's next? Are jump ropes canceled or dodgeballs?
Right, because you're whipping your hand with it. Yeah, we're making wimpy humans.
We are.
We are making humans so sensitive.
8th place trophies.
We're so scared to get uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you? Everything you need's right here.
Yeah,
Everything
you can just
need.
hide in your phone.
It's right here. No, we're so disconnected.
So disconnected.
It's but when you do get out there in nature and you do like build a fire. When I went to the Poconos, I made it a goal of mine to build a fire outside. And because I wanted to feel that sense of accomplishment, like where it took me a little bit to get it set up and like, oh, we're good. Like we can be warm. Obviously you just go inside because of heating, but I wanted to feel that long term, like I did it. And felt really good. Sure, I still had some help with like a modern day blowtorch and all that stuff, but it's still like that sense of like accomplishment felt really good where it's like I did this, I built it, it took a little bit, and we're here now. And it's just so good for you to be able to do that.
And connect with your roots.
Yep.
Because how do you think they got heat when they were I don't know, our ancestors.
Yeah.
It's the best word. Our ancestors. That's how they got their heat.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned we came from apes. I told you about Terence McKenna earlier. Are you familiar with the stoned ape theory?
I don't know.
Okay, so basically the idea proposed, technically it's a hypothesis. Terence McKenna studied all kinds of different psychedelics and also other things in nature, animals and plants, and basically if we did come from apes and monkeys evolving, it's like, okay, how though? How did you go from a monkey with feet, hands on its feet, biting the shit out of everything, all covered in hair, to like us sitting here doing a podcast? Like, how did you get there? Well, there's this thing between like the brain size double. If you look at our brains and a chimp brain, our brain is way bigger. A chimp's brain is about the same size as its testicles, actually. It's kind of funny. It's like they're the same size. So we don't know how the brain basically doubled in like 1 or 2 million years. They think, some people even think less. So the idea is we started coming out of the trees. We started experimenting with new food sources. We found psychedelic mushrooms, and we started eating them. And if you know about psychedelic mushrooms, particularly any kind of psilocybin, and even lion's mane and chocolate, like all these different kinds of edible mushrooms, they create what's called neurogenesis in your brain. And that's where new brain cells are being grown, new brain pathways are being created. You're basically regrowing your brain. Well, if that's the case, and that's what these early human monkey things were eating over millions and millions of years, all that neurogenesis, all of that reprogramming and growing of the brain, developing things like language, community, creativity, well, then that's how we got here. And that's crazy to me. And I think that that's more likely than Adam and Eve made all the people, because, like, how's that work? you know? So, yeah, I love that, because even just my own experiences and you know, a handful of psychedelic experience, I feel like I've changed my brain and evolved so much, and my consciousness has changed so much, and I'm living in such a higher state of being. Now imagine that over like millions of years of just consuming that.
So now it's like we choose. Do we take the easy route and continue throwing our wisdom and our arts and our creativity into corporate? Or do we choose ourselves and choose to make being a creative more of a norm?
Yeah.
Like yoga teachers make no money.
Yeah.
That's like something you really have to be of service to do, because you're not making money doing it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like that's what I want to do. I want to stay within that and be able to support myself. And it's like, you have to figure something else out. And my parents are like, you're going to have to get a job eventually. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like, am I going to choose to be weak and settle for corporate America? Am I going to be strong, go through the mess, go through the darkness, deal with all the hard things to get myself that life that I deserve to have? I get to choose.
Yeah. I would always choose the latter. Because, again, through all of that, you just become more of yourself versus just becoming like a cog in the machine. And I'm kind of, like I was telling you earlier, I have my foot in both worlds a little bit, where I got a job doing design work, and then as more and more time goes on, it was like, actually, you're going to be doing this, and actually you're going to be doing this. And now all of a sudden it's like, now I'm like in the matrix of the corporate system, and it's like, I have to figure this out, because it's like sucking the life out of me. I'm doing what air quotes, I'm doing. People are like, you should be grateful. You're doing graphic design. You don't have to leave your house. Okay, sure, great. But like, in terms of passion for the creativity, it's not aligning. So
not yours.
It's not mine. So I definitely agree with what you're saying, where it's like, we definitely have to become more just living from the heart, living from the soul, and letting our soul guide us. And that sounds so hippie and so cliche, but it's so
perfect.
It's so true. Because your quality of life is better. Yeah. You know?
And it's like society, like you just said, people are like, you should be grateful because of da-da-da-da. Stop telling people what they need to be grateful for. Mind your fucking business. Yeah. Let people be who they are. Let them feel what they need to feel, be who they need to be, do what they need to do, da-da-da-da-da. And mind your fucking business.
Please.
Stop putting your self-projection onto them and making them feel like, okay, maybe I do need to settle into this corporate matrix. No, you don't.
No.
You do not.
But again, that's how we've been conditioned, because that's what my parents did, and that's what his parents did, and that's their parents did, and
Yeah.
it just persists. It's conditioning, it's programming. We don't know anything else. And again, because of all this short-term feedback and accomplishment, it's easy. It's almost easier to just like, I'll just get the job here and I'll live paycheck to paycheck, and I won't really follow, because it's at the end of the day, it is easier.
Yeah.
But I don't think in terms of on your mental, it's definitely not. There's a quote that's always stuck with me regarding entrepreneurs, and it said that an entrepreneur is somebody who will live a few years of their life like most people never will, or like most people never would, i.e. struggling, trying to figure that out. They live a few years like nobody would, so they can live the rest of their lives like the most of those people never can. And that's powerful. That has always stuck me. When I'm down in the dumps and I'm like, this fucking sucks, I'm here forever. It's like, no, dude, just keep sticking it out. Yep. And if you follow, that's another thing too. It's like when you wake up and understand that we live in a video game, for lack of a better word, and you are the master of your reality, you can create anything you want, you can create your reality. Well, then that's a huge responsibility for people, and it's kind of scary. I've definitely been scared of my own power from time to time. But like, abundance has been a big topic and focal point in my life now. Just abundance of love, of friendships, of health, of wellness, of material, of financial. And when you live in that vibration, well, then you don't have to necessarily worry about a job or what are you going to do to pay rent. Well, it's like I live in a natural state of abundance and I have more than I could ever need and the universe is fully supporting me. Well, then like you'll always be good, versus like what you said, where people want to focus on the opposite. Why is this happening to me? This is shitty. And then that's exactly what you're going to experience. So it could literally just be boiled down to a simple mindset or perspective change.
Absolutely. And waking up every morning, part of what my shift in writing was shifting to, I'm so upset about this and I'm so that, and I turned it into, I am perfect as I am, and I am worthy, and that's such like the cliche thing. I can't think of exactly what I wrote, but I was basically just writing these I am powerful statements and like being my own fucking cheerleader.
Yeah, you have to.
Because no one else is going to do it for you.
No one's going to do it for you. And also, newsflash, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit if
we all got our own sob stories.
You know, like no one cares. The only people who give a shit about your negativity or your sob stories is like your mom, because she loves you and she wants to be there. But also like other people who are in that vibration. Mm-hmm. No one gives a shit for the most part. Yeah. So once you understand that and just suck it up and just come back to yourself now and be like, this is acknowledge it. Don't ignore it. This is shitty. This is not ideal, but it's also not, it's just temporary. Yep. And it will be different. But I can't just be down in the dumps because if I stay in this place, then I'm going to stay in this place. And this is what's only going to be reflected back to me. Another quote, it was like, the universe is not punishing you. It's not harming you. It's just reflecting back the exact vibration you're putting out. And that's so true. Everything is a vibration. Everything from sound to color to this table, everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. And if you can align with, even thoughts and emotions are a frequency. If you can align with certain thoughts and emotions and ways of being, well, then that's the reality you're going to experience. Mm-hmm. People just don't know that because it sounds so crazy.
Yeah, and if something comes up that you don't like, get curious about it.
Yeah.
Don't shove it under and Band-Aid it.
Let that inner child come out.
Yeah, get curious. Like, why is this coming up? What can I choose to make it different? Mm-hmm. And, like, own your shit. This is coming up because X. Yeah. Perfect. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. It's all a test. Everything that ever has, will, or is happening to you is just a test. It's trying to teach you something. It's trying to make you more of who you are. And that's the way I'm always going to look at it now. Because I know that, and I've seen that. And if you just keep sticking it out, you know, time will go on, and you'll be able to look back and be like, this is what I needed to learn then, and now I'm implementing it now, and you're grateful for all the ups and all the downs. Mm-hmm. We just keep moving forward. It's onwards.
Yeah. That's like, I think part of me was so scared to start sharing with people what I experienced from the healing session, because I can say it with a smile on my face. Yeah. Like, I can own it. And people are like, oh, did that really happen to her? Like, wouldn't she be hysterically crying all the time? Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, some days I am. Yeah. The first time that I saw myself in the mirror after that healing session, the floodgates opened. Yeah. I was like, I fell to my knees, hysterically sobbing. Like, and that's pain that had been built up inside of me for How long?
20 plus years.
Being released.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, some days it's going to be messy. But other days I get to choose to fiercely look myself in the eyes and say that you are worthy and what you went through does not define you. And now you get to grow.
Yeah.
And move through it. And go to the messy places when the messy places need to be felt. And then know when to get back up. And gift that to myself.
You have to feel it. Again, sounds corny, but the only way to heal it is to feel it. I don't know if I just made that up or if I heard that somewhere, but I like it. And it's, you have to feel it. You have to go through it. Even in meditation, like all these, even today, like emotions and fears and like insecurities, sometimes they come up. But like after you're able to just sit there and recognize them, watch them come up, don't attach to them, see them that they're there, get them out of your fucking head, and then go about your day. And like, I'm having a great day. Like I could have let those thoughts fuck my day up. And like, it's a great day because I was able to see them, recognize them, push them to the side. I do not choose those. This is who I am. Tap into that and then go about your day. That took 5 minutes and it's a good day.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. Yeah, that's like what we talked about earlier. It should be like a human necessity, like how you need to eat in the morning. You need to meditate for at least, or sit with your shit for at least 5 minutes. You don't need to put the label on it and call it meditation.
Yeah.
Give yourself something for 5 minutes that you really need. Listen to yourself and set that tone for the day to listen to yourself.
We should invent an app that doesn't let you use your phone until you meditate. Like those, how people who have DUIs can't start their car until they blow into that thing. That for like meditation. Don't know how you
can't get into your phone until
you meditate.
You listen to this meditation.
Yeah.
Or like you get to choose like Headspace.
Yeah.
How you get to choose your meditation. We got to team up with Headspace. Yeah. Hey man, you got to get on this.
Headspace or Sam Harris, because I have his meditation app and it's great. Don't steal that idea, you rascals. Or if you do, just give me like a couple royalties. Hook us up with at least a free subscription.
Yeah, something.
No, yeah, that'd be so funny.
I would do that.
But then it's like, how would you do that? Would you put something on that measures brain waves? Is it
There's like those apps that track your brain frequency or like your sleep cycles through the night. Like what if when it feels you coming out of a sleep cycle and it knows when your alarm is in the morning, it's attached to your alarm. So like 5 minutes before your alarm goes on, it starts to like send you like cooling sounds. So like start waking you up, and then the alarm goes off. If you hit snooze or stop or whatever, the meditation starts.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah, I wore a Whoop strap last summer. A Whoop strap is just a fitness tracker. It tracks how active you are, your heart rate variability, how well you sleep, how well you recover. So yeah, maybe. If it can measure all of that, just a little light, 2 green lights that shine into your wrist, well, there's got to be something that's very littly invasive or very not super bulky that can measure your brainwave frequencies.
Yeah.
And that's where Neuralink comes in, and Neuralink scares me.
What's that?
Neuralink is what Elon Musk is working on, and it's basically just this computer chip that they put inside they drill like a 1-inch hole in your skull to put like a computer chip type thing in your brain. That is a very reductionist way of explaining it, but that's like the best way. And then through that, you'll be able to like, the idea is, I guess, communicate with people or see augmented reality. Like there'd be like a little thing on the table here, or your calendar will be up on the I don't know. It's very early and they're working on it, but like maybe but I also don't trust it. I don't want to actually become like a cyborg or something.
Yeah.
I feel like we already are cyborgs. Yes. We are connected to these technologies. I don't want you to actually put it in my brain.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Did you see that episode of Black Mirror? Did you watch Black Mirror?
I have seen Black Mirror. I haven't seen the episode you're talking about though.
There's this episode where it was like this guy. I think he was a brain doctor. I don't know. I don't remember perfectly. But basically,
I'm gonna adjust the camera.
Yes. Oh, basically he had this like netting, this of like whatever. I'm not even gonna try and say it because I'm gonna butcher it. That he would put on his head and he had the screws in his temples. Backtrack. He had the screws like in his head that attached to the frequencies of this netting thing that the other person put on their head, so that he could feel everything that they're feeling.
Oh no!
And so then he became addicted to having sex.
Oh.
Because he would feel her sensations and his.
Whoa.
And then when that
Hello.
wasn't yeah, woo. And then when that wasn't enough, he started killing people
To
because of the sensation.
of
Like
getting killed but not dying.
he was so addicted and
Oh.
got so high off of the sensations of feeling his and others
whoa.
that somehow it got to like he was killing. I could be so far off on this. Maybe I am. I think that was something like what happened. And then it came back to like, it was this old town museum that was like in the middle of nowhere, like this rundown city.
Mhm.
And then there was like this guy where they were able to turn a person into like a holographic version of themselves.
Okay.
So the person was like basically dying and then showed up like in their suffering in a holographic version of themselves.
That's something that probably will happen. If you
Right?
if you can download your consciousness,
Oh God.
or at least all your memories and who you were, into an AI, and then the AI would like decipher it and like create a personality around that, then they could create a holographic Jamie, and she would know everything Jamie knows and be able to have conversations and talk about, even though it's not you, like your soul has left and
Yes.
transcended, but like the data that's still there.
Yeah. Of who Jamie would look
Right.
like.
Of who Jamie was, what she looked like, what her favorite food was, what she liked to do, like all
Yeah.
that. That's freaky. They took, this isn't it, but I hate to reference Joe Rogan so much, but I love him so much. I owe so much to him in his podcast. I've learned so much. They did a deep fake, which is, you know what a deep fake is? So they'll take either your voice or like photos of you, and like if it's like your face, they'll take your face and put it over someone else's face, and it looks like it's you talking and having a
Okay,
conversation. Like
yeah,
it looks
yeah,
very real. Or they'll take audio and mash it together so it sounds like a full conversation. They took a deep fake of Joe Rogan, and they took an AI, took all of this podcast audio and made its own conversation about like a hockey team of chimpanzees, and it sounded like a real conversation that he had. There was the words flowed perfectly. There was no weird thing. So that's where we're headed. It's freaky, but
That's like, I just saw like a glimpse of like healing in the future, like where you can download my consciousness onto a computer,
yeah.
and you can say Control Alt Delete these memories to heal from something.
Wow.
Heal, quote.
Air quotes heal.
Right.
So like you would be alive. You'd go to somewhere. You'd put all your consciousness in a computer for
Yeah.
a little bit. They'd keep your body alive, and then, oh my god,
They
would
literally
just
just click
drag
delete.
and delete it.
Drag me into the trash can.
Oh my god.
Touched in Goddard School Preschool. Delete.
Wow. There's a episode of Rick and Morty where they go to this spa in space, and they go into this one machine that removes all the toxins out of your body. And what it does is it removes like toxic Rick and toxic Morty, so they become their own entities. And it's like all the negativity, all the toxic, all the bad memories, all the bad actions are in like one being, and they look like green booger versions of Rick and Morty. It's just really funny where it's like kind of like that, where they got rid of all of the evil shit, but at the end of the episode you realize all that all the toxicity is what makes them Rick and Morty and makes them who they are.
That's reminded me. Go ahead.
So like if you were to go, because even though all the traumatic stuff that ever happens to you, it's not who you are, but it has helped you become who you are here and now, and in there you find strength. So then if you were to delete that stuff, would you still be you in the sense of who you are right now? Do you know what I mean?
Right, because every single thing that we've experienced up until this very moment has happened for us to make us exactly who we are, where we are right now.
Yeah. So it's almost like, would you want to delete that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't think I'd delete it. I think I'd keep
No.
it there because it's like a reference point.
Yeah, it's like own it. I keep saying just own it.
Own it. You
That's
have to.
what it comes down to. Own it. Yeah, and I was gonna say, what you were talking about of like the Rick and Morty reference reminds me of in yoga what we just learned about in our most previous weekend of teacher training.
Yeah.
Was the shot karmas. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
What's that?
And it's cleansing of the body, like purifying the body. So the neti pot,
Okay.
clearing out like your nasal passages. And then there was another one where it's like ab rolling. Like, you know, like when people like can suck their bellies in and like move their bellies.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah, that's
the vacuum abs or whatever.
Yes,
that
that's a
stuff's
part
wild.
of purifying your intestines.
Wow.
And then one of them is staring into a candle flame.
Yeah. Candle
That's
gazing.
purifying.
Yep.
And then another one is having a tube up your butt and sucking everything out.
What's that called?
I don't remember.
Okay, but yeah,
Not like before the doctor's appointment. When you had to get checked up your butt.
Yeah.
Not that one.
It's not an enema. It might be an enema. An enema or colonic, either one of those. But okay, that's a form. Yes. I learned about yoni cleansing.
Yes.
I learned about that, so that's another one.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. And then making yourself throw up, so like drinking warm saline water and then throwing it up and getting everything out.
Oh.
There was something else with saline water. I think it was the neti pot, the making yourself throw up, and I feel like there was something else.
Something with your ears, maybe?
We did ear candling at teacher training. I don't think that's a part of the shot karmas, but it's like, it is a version of purifying.
Okay.
And it's really relaxing.
Yeah.
And it's when you rip it open at the end and you see all this shit that was sucked out of your ear. It's just, humbling.
Yeah. Holy crap.
You're like, that was in me?
Wow.
Whoops.
What about,
I just remember this is your hoodie and I'm nodding it up.
That's okay. My buddy was telling, he did like a foot bath thing to suck all the toxins out of his feet. Is that one of them?
Interesting. No.
He puts like a certain, maybe it's like Epsom salt water or some kind of solution in the water, and then it like heats up and bubbles, and it's supposed to like suck all of the toxins out of your feet, because you have so many blood vessels and points of, it's all like connected. I don't know what you call those, pressure points, or where it's like this part's connected to your liver or your lungs or whatever. I don't know what that's called, but you
should know this. We just learned about the feet in YTT.
I used to have really bad migraines, and one of the things, like a holistic way of dealing with them is like putting your feet in really hot water, and it definitely helped.
Interesting.
The throwing up one's interesting, because I feel like that's so slept on, because it's, I'm throwing up, that's gross.
Right?
Like I don't want snot coming out of my nose and tears, but
I hate that.
One of the things that comes with a psychedelic experience is sometimes you do end up purging, because you get so tuned into your own energy, and certain things or emotions or energies from the past will come up, and like the psychedelic wants to help you heal and release them. Mm-hmm. And energy will move all throughout your body. You can feel it. I always feel the intensity to stretch and do yoga, and I'll feel the energy moving out of my body, and sometimes it'll manifest in like a burp or a fart or you throw up. And there's been so many times where I'm like, have this internal battle. It's like, I know I have to throw up, but I don't want to because it's gross. I don't want to deal with it. But you always feel so much better. You feel lighter. You feel like you've just released this energy, and like it's not part of you anymore. And there's something very freeing in that.
I think it's, and I don't know if I'm right on this. This is just something that came to me, is it's purifying the gut brain.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, because that's your gut. Everything, all the ickiness that lives in there really affects our mental.
Mm-hmm.
And I know,
because there's neurons in your gut.
Yeah. Yeah, they call it the gut brain. So I think I actually have it in my manual for training. I can send it to you later if you're curious about it. And it has all the Sanskrit names.
There we go.
But my teacher, she does cactus medicine in Peru. And she shared with me that when you ingest the cacti, you're projectile vomiting.
Yep.
And that's part of preparing yourself for the wisdom to come through you.
Yeah. They say the same thing about ayahuasca and other kinds of these like plant medicine, toad venom type things, is you have to purge first, and then all of the wisdom and the healing comes afterwards, because you're creating space. You're making space for new energy to come in.
You're an open channel for consciousness to flow through you. Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're interested in trying psychedelics and you do them and you feel sick and you feel like you're going to have to throw up, just do it, because it's part of it, and you'll feel so much better afterwards. That's like I was saying earlier to you, I feel like I need to be a guide for some people, because I was around some friends. It was their first experience. I check out with my buddy. How you feeling? He's like, I don't really know. I got like this weird pit in my stomach. And me being in that arena, I'm like, oh, you probably just have to throw up. Like, no big deal. Because he was going through a breakup. He was going through this like whole thing. So this energy was coming up. And I'm just glad that I was able to be there for him, because I don't know where that trip would have gone or spiraled into if it wasn't for me to just positively reaffirm, you might just have to throw up, bro. Sure enough, he went outside. I don't know if he threw up, but he definitely, after knowing that, was able to go outside and kind of get his energy right. And the rest of the time was fine. So never fight that feeling. It's like when you're hungover, you might as well throw up.
Yeah, you
'cause you're
gotta
gonna
get it out.
You gotta get it out. It's just energy trying to leave your body.
Yeah.
That's all, and it'll manifest in throwing up, in a burp, like I said, or a fart, or even like a nice loogie will come out. It's just energy. Let it
Yeah.
go. It's not
And
part
it's
of you.
like when my memories came back to me, my body was tremoring.
Yeah.
And that was my body releasing that energy.
Yes.
And I think we talked about earlier, you had a friend who did the dancing, like the
Mhm.
intense shaking of the body. And
Yeah.
think about like when dogs, like your dog shaking in its sleep, it's releasing, he's releasing something.
Yeah.
And that's what dogs do. You put a harness on my dog,
Yeah.
and right away he's shaking.
Yeah.
He's just releasing it.
Yeah.
He's letting it go.
Hmm.
And that's why dogs are so much peaceful than us, because we can't let shit go.
No.
And so in that dancing, right?
Yeah.
A dog runs face first into the freaking fence and they're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then they're back and happy again. Whereas if I ran face first into a fence, I'd be like, take me to the hospital.
Yeah. That's a good point. Dexter was shaking very hard yesterday when Matt came home from Colorado. I don't know if it was he sensed his energy, because Matt came home from not the greatest environment, but you know, I think he might have sensed that. So maybe that's why he was shaking. But he's shaking to like release whatever that is. And sure enough, you know, he's fine 5 minutes later. But it was my brother who experienced the shaking therapy, and you're listening to sound bowls and gongs and all these high frequencies with shaking and moving your body and knocking shit loose, and emotions come up with that, and it's always just one step closer to healing.
And I think that's why another part of my healing that I choose every day is the dance parties.
Mm-hmm.
I need to have a dance party for myself every morning. Some days that dance party is in my robe.
Yeah.
Some days it's in some sweatpants and a t-shirt. Some days it's butt ass naked and dancing at myself in the mirror and owning this body that I'm gifted in.
Yep.
Just embracing it.
Yeah. You have to. The dancing is definitely powerful. Like I was telling you before we started, I was always super shy with that, going to parties or wherever. I'd always just kind of be timid off in the back. But it wasn't until, shout out to Austin and Riley and Ryan, where we would go to these places and we travel and we go to places like Tulum, where like it's part of the culture and it's part of the experience, and you just let go and it's no judgment. It's all love, and there's something very freeing that comes with that.
Yeah.
It's just moving and it's primal too. Look at all these ancient, even modern, like they're still around today, in Africa, these tribes or Amazonian tribes, like in Native Americans, like that was part of the culture, is these tribal dances that told stories, and it's part of being a human.
It's awesome. Yeah, I would love to get trained in ecstatic dancing. I think that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's much of that around us. I don't think that's anything that's offered around here.
What exactly constitutes or what is like ecstatic dancing?
I think it's in the simplest terms, letting it all go.
Okay.
Like I think it's done in a dark room where you can't see each other. And I think you have like the headphones on, like the sound canceling headphones, and you're just dancing to the music and just encouraged by your guide to just let it all go.
That's cool.
And just dance wherever your body wants to go.
Wow.
And I've been able to do that for
It's almost like a form of yoga, because even like in yoga, you feel your muscles loosening, you feel the energy moving through your body, and through that,
the energy,
you feel it moving.
Yeah.
And you get it up and activated. Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I saw TikTok. This guy dancing, probably the ecstatic
TikTok
dancing
is a cult.
outside. It definitely is, and I'm a founding member. But he's dancing and he's moving around and it's all ecstatic and it's not really on beat, but it's freedom. And in the caption is like, this is what working through like 10 years of trauma looks like. And it was like just dancing. Something as simple as silly as dancing is helping him work through trauma.
It's being playful.
Yeah.
It's in our nature to be playful.
Yeah.
And like at what age? I guess it's when we start going to school and you're forced to sit down at a desk and not be playful.
It's when you become indoctrinated.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, I can't play anymore. I have to be this.
Yep. It's a lie. Yeah. Don't listen to it.
We have so much fun playing.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out the quotes like heavy today, but again, another quote. The creative adult is the child who survived. Look at me. I'm a 24-year-old, 10-year-old. Yeah. I got toys and Iron Man and Star Wars shit everywhere, and like I love it. It like Legos keeps me inspired. It keeps me playful. It keeps me curious. It keeps me, especially with like the Star Wars and the superhero stuff.
Oh,
that was the
let it
cutest.
go, Dexter.
Dexter just sneezed, and it was the cutest thing ever. But, you know, it's just a reminder of like the hero's journey and your own superpowers and all that way. Where's he going? You just shifting? Come here. Come here.
I've heard it's almost like he has a little mohawk.
Yeah. Dexter got a haircut, and they cut all his hair off his face and around his mouth, and he looks like a little deer or something, a little goat. Oh, no, he's super cute, though. He's a great dog. He's a good podcast companion. All right, Jamie, I think we should wrap this up. We're a little over an hour, and this was an awesome conversation.
That was so fun.
We'll have to do this again.
Yes.
Everyone who's listening and watching, thanks for being here. Hope you learned something, integrate it into your life. Let us know if you have any questions. All right, y'all. Love you.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Take that jump.
Mm-hmm.
Bye,
Push
everybody.
the edge. See ya.